this is what we do in marketing, especially in kids to dentists, right? So if we were to break it down into, let's put here, kids to dentists. So this is the brand. That's the brand. And you know, there's several offices that are under that brand. So that's the brand. So right now what we're doing is a spring summer campaign for 2025. For spring summer, the campaign is called There's No Place. I mean, that's simple to understand right now.
Right.
So what happens with this is that everything that we do for that campaign needs to come from here. So to get to this place, we have to figure out the slogan and all of that. This is the slogan that was approved, so this is what we're going for. So everything just but as we know that the workplace is important because this is what ties us to happiness without even having to have it in the slogan. Automatically there's something that triggers people to go, oh, the happiest place on earth. There's no place like this place.
Right.
You're not saying that you're that, but you know what I mean? Psychologically. So why we keep that in mind? Because everything we create, these words will be trigger words. And trigger words in marketing, especially, for example, in marketing, there's a lot of things like hypnosis, NLP, which is neuro-linguistic language. They're words that when you talk people, when you use these words that are natural to our human consciousness. For example, if I go, okay, imagine you're on a boat and you bought this boat that's beautiful and you're on the yacht. I already had you at imagine. That was a trigger word because as soon as I said imagine, you took a trip. You were with that boat, weren't you? Right?
Yeah, you take a step back and
I didn't ask permission for you to visualize what you visualized. Yeah. So when you're, you know what I mean? So when you're in sales, you use certain words to start it off that are going to, people don't even know that you're being pulled into it. So imagine whatever comes after that, I already got you. If you start imagining, I got you because now I'm implanting. You see that movie Inception?
I have not, no.
Oh, you gotta watch that movie.
Inception.
So in the movie Inception, they go into people's dreams. That's their job, to plant ideas.
Yeah.
So that's what we do with marketing. We implant ideas however we can in people. This campaign, we're implanting the idea that there is no place like this place. That's the idea. We want to put that in people's brains. How do we do that? We have to have a trigger, right? We have to go, imagine a dentist that blah, 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 blah. You agree that there's no place like this place? Mm-hmm. Because then now
you start to compare like, okay, the other places don't have what this place has and stuff, right?
Exactly. Just with that, that's a trigger question. So you have what are called trigger questions and trigger statements. You begin with this. This is number one. From there, we move into a preposition or the idea, the command. That it will be the command. So I want you to buy what I'm selling. How do I command you to do that? How do I command your subconscious to do that? Well, I gotta open you up by triggering either with a question or with a statement that you agree with. There's also a negative part of it. Like you can go into the negative of this saying, wow, would you really take your kid to a dentist that's gonna really hurt them? Because now, that's the reverse. It's the same question, it's a different trigger, but it's negative. I'm using fear to go, no, I will never do that. It's like, well, I'm glad you're not bring them to kids to dentists because I know 10 out of 10 parents wouldn't do that. So now I'm getting you to a place that you are obeying a command based on your own, what you already decided that it is. It's like, I'm not going to bring them anywhere else but here. So the reason that this is important with the campaign is because we need to have the trigger, the command, and then we need to implant the idea. Imprint, right? Implant or imprint. Imprint idea. That means when the commercial's over, even if they don't take action, it stays in their head.
Right.
Subconsciously. And then we go into a call to action, which can be tied to the command. A call to action is at the end when it goes, call now. And they have a phone number or scan. Like they're prompting you to do something. And if you don't have these elements, they're just not gonna do the call to action. You gotta move them here emotionally, and then they get the call to action. Like when you buy shoes, that's a call to action that someone put in your head. Mm-hmm. You don't even know why Like, oh, I gotta get these shoes, or I gotta get this, or I gotta. Sometimes we don't know why we desire certain things. Is because someone subconsciously imprinted something somewhere, a billboard somewhere. You saw something maybe weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it hits you weeks later when you're at the store and you see the shoes. You're like, here they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I know what you mean.
So you're now on this side. We're the architects of this in marketing. You're not a consumer. You know, we don't get high on our own supply. Like this is we're talking from the part of it that we're building this for people. And you can't really think whether it's good or not, right? Because what happens is we try to get people to go to the dentist, and we want their kids to have like great oral health, to have great smiles, to not be in pain, to learn about taking care of their teeth. All of these are positive ideas, but sometimes you have to really push the idea to people, even though they're positive. Like, stop smoking. If you notice, it's a big, everywhere, don't smoke, and you can't smoke here, and in the box says you get cancer. That's a positive. They wouldn't want you to die, but you gotta kind of sometimes scare people into that reflection. And we don't have to do that in this campaign, for example, but that's part of it as well. It's just like you have to move them emotionally, where there's no place like this place. Like, everybody wants to go to Disneyland. So how do we get people to want to go to the dentist? It's not Disneyland. We don't have rides, but we have as close as you're going to get to a ride at a dentist. You don't have a roller coaster, but you go to your mom and dad's dentist, they just have a chair and get down from there. We want you to play. We encourage you, come on and play. And the adult dentists, they're like, sit down, hey, stop. You know, so we want to show people that, hey, it's a positive thing, what we have here for your kid.
It's like going to the dentist shouldn't be like a scary, bad place. Like you guys are making it like putting it into the kid's head where it doesn't have to be a bad place. It can be somewhere where they can.
Exactly. That's all we're doing. Except we need to know how to enter into people's psyche. We need to go in through the back door of their subconscious and really implant the idea. So the reason I want you to understand is because now we're going to go into what we actually are going to do. So, for example, there's no place in this place. So we're going to go TV, radio. We're doing postcards like a mail, and we are doing digital, and then we're doing events. So this is where all of this is going to apply, but now it's easier if we understand where we're going. Now, all of these need to have an aesthetic look or theme. Okay, what I'm giving you here, like, you're not gonna learn this in school, no matter how many books, because all this information is in the books, but it's so scattered. It'll take you 4 years to get into we're doing like a quick 30-minute masterclass right now. So
yeah.
The aesthetic, the look or theme, right? Do you understand that part? What does it look like? Is it bright? Is it dark? You see like the Marvel movie, like the Batman movies.
Yeah.
Like there's a dark, they're always very dark. And then you see the Flash or some of the superheroes, and they're really bright. Those are aesthetic themes or looks.
It's like Superman uses like the sun as like hope, and then Batman is dark. To be like a dark, like vigilante, like, you know.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Like
so
an anti-hero vibe.
But even the look of it matches that persona. You know what I mean? Like the darkness of Batman is matched by the darkness on the film. The actual way that they shoot it is dark to give it more of that. And then Superman, it's bright because of the sun, and so that's exactly what we're doing. So what we have is that we're doing bright, and then we are showcasing that there's no place like this place. So how do we say this in this language? So TV is visual, radio obviously audio. Postcards are visual, but they're printed, they're not moving. Digital ads, they could be visual. And then community events, we're literally there. That will be what is called a physical experience, right? So these are really powerful because that's a physical experience. Like when you go to a haunted house, you can watch a video about a haunted house. There's nothing like being in the haunted house, you know? So this is what the community events are. If we're going to take this now, what we did is we started with the postcards. Why? Because these are probably, out of all of this, are probably the most costly, because you have to physically mail them and stuff like that, even on top of the other ones. And this helps us get a guideline into what that looks. What does that look? And then we'll get the computer data and show them. So that's the postcard. So we have the place, which is the Delano Kids Dentist, Delano. And then we have the outside here and the interior here. There's a lot of other things, but when you read something, since in America we read from left to right, your center of attention is actually on the right. So what happens is you'll start here and then here. So what do we have here is the phone number, because that's where we want the eyes to go to. And then down here, we have other pertinent information about our offices and so on, which this, if they're already interested, they'll read. But the most important is like they see the logo here, they see the exterior, the interior, and the number. Even if they throw it away, you created what is called an impression. And when you get a lot of impressions, they'll imprint. Impressions lead to imprint. So the more you impress, the more you imprint. And like if you notice the word like press, that's a printing press. That's where you print. So that's where you print. That's why we love our moms and our family. We see them so much every day that we have impressions since we were born. So of course they're gonna be imprinted in our minds and our hearts for the rest of our lives. It's just natural. That's why sometimes it's not about if you're biological. Sometimes that person that raised you can have the same imprint because of all the impressions. And they don't have to be all positive. You got positive and negative impressions. So we started with that. And then, another part that goes kind of here and before digital will be the website. So the way this looks matches the banner at the top of the website too. It's the same. So now what we got to do is now continue duplicating these. So that's why it gets easier as we go down the line, as long as we do the hard work first. This seems like the dumb work to some people because it's like...
But it's really like the foundation to get to that point. You're saying this has to be the number one step, right?
Right. Because everything is being understandable. Now if we started over here just doing this... I
would have been lost, yeah.
Yeah. But now we just duplicate this. Digital ads, that Google ad, what do you think it's going to look like? Like this.
Same thing.
The flyers that we print and any kind of banner or whatever, what do you think it's going to look like? Same. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, but not really, because TV is moving and we have limited time. We have 30 seconds. But guess the look. It should be the same look. Because when I see the commercial and I go to the website, it's the same, or a scan. People should not be confused. It should be like seamless. And then radio seems like the most tricky, and it is, but it's easier. Why? Because we're not worried about what it looks like. So since we only focus on sound here, that leads us to, out of this, there's a thing called a voice. So a voice is what delivers the message. So does that make sense? I'm delivering a message, you need the voice. Well, in marketing, what we mean about the voice is not necessarily the voice. It's what's that tone? How are you talking? Are you saying, hey, yo, man, hey, come bring your kids over here. You know what I'm saying? Or are you saying, oh, you should bring your kids here? Or, we have a very nice place. I'm changing the voice, but if you notice what I'm really changing is that style, that...
Same message, it's just the way you say it, right?
Exactly. But this needs to be really defined. You don't want 2 or 3 voices. You don't want the, yo, what up voice, and then over there the, because then people are like, yo, they're crazy.
Yeah.
So that voice needs to be really defined. And I think a lot of times, you should never skip this part of defining what that voice is. So that voice right now in this campaign, because as you can see, if you apply this to anything, if you have young kids, you're going to talk one way. If you have mothers like we have, you're going to talk another way. You have professional doctors, you're going to talk a different way. So the voice is going to be shaped based on the audience. Our audience is, throughout the years, it's just been predetermined. Even though it's going to fluctuate. Obviously, there's dads that take the kids to the dentist. There's grandmas. But the decision maker has been primarily young mothers, right? Because also, older mothers, what happens is, kids start getting older and start making a little bit of their own decision. Like, no, I want to do this. Or I want to get braces. I want to come to the dentist and my friend. We lose a little grasp on the older mother. But the young mother, she needs the help because she's probably just dealing with kids for the first time in her lifetime, and she needs the guidance. That's why it's important that we do what we do, because we help these mothers to go, okay, yeah, bring him in, and then he's gonna need this, and he has cavities, and they start dealing with that. So the audience is young mothers for this campaign because it's the one that we have the most. So let's say that young mothers, maybe they're like, and I have no idea. We can look it up, but 80%, and then you have some grandma, 10%, and then that's another 10. I'm making these numbers up, but just to show you where the decision comes and what kind of voice we do is based on, we want our bang for a buck. So we're gonna go with where the fish are. Mm-hmm. In other marketing campaigns where there's a budget that you could actually allocate here, here, and here accordingly. So you put like 10% of the budget to that, 10%. You can do that here for time and resources and all of that. We just gonna focus on the young mothers. I mean, but it makes sense of why. Yeah. It's just they're overwhelmingly our population. Now we can sub audiences. So now when we go with these mothers, they either speak English or Spanish. The Central Valley world, they are a lot of them, even if they speak English, a lot of households speak Spanish. Probably a majority of our young mother patients speak Spanish, even if none of them don't speak English. It's just because their moms speak. They understand it. So we'd be able to get, maybe if we had like 65% that spoke Spanish, and we, the number starts going down, but now this sub audience starts becoming our audience. So we go young mothers that speak Spanish, and then we can even keep going sub as like, okay, what's their level of education? Because that matters. If your level of education is high school below or something like that, where you don't have a fluent vocabulary, then your commercial can be, hi, we treat, orthodontal, like you can't use big words because you're going to be like, woof, going over their heads. You want to adjust, but you also don't want to go below their heads. Mm-hmm. You also don't want to go, you should come to the dentist, you gotta be, because then you run the risk of now borderline offending people. Like, oh, they think we're dumb? Like what kind of commercial? I don't even see those commercials. They're cringe. It's too dumb. It's like, yeah, you should stay in school. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not effective, and it becomes a meme. Yeah. So we want to stay away from the meme territory of being too dumb for our audience, but then we don't want to be too smart for them. We want to really hit them, and the only way to do that is to understand their habits. Young moms are on TikTok. What do they watch? Makeup tutorials. They watch all of these things. However, moms speak another language that I made up, but it's called kids. So moms speak kids. Mom can look at something and know if their kid is gonna like it or not. Not even whether it's good for them or not. They know, I better not bring him here because I know he's gonna, they speak kids. Kids language is this. Kids are on YouTube, they have their iPad, their tablet, they're on TV, and they're blasting it. They're in the car, in the back seat, and that material is coming out of there. It's also hitting the mom. Moms are aware of what the kids are watching. They know, Bleepy. They know the theme songs. They know Miss Rachel. They know what's happening. And as soon as you break that pattern, like, wait, that's not Bleepy. Their ears stand up. So that's speaking through the kids. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So now we get to two things. We can speak mom, or we can speak kids. When we speak to kids, it is that commercial that you see, oh, it's Malibu Barbie. Yeah. And kids playing. That's speaking to the parents through the kids because they're like, oh, they're probably going to want that for Christmas. Mm-hmm. That's it. Oh, the hottest toy in town. Oh, the kids, I want that, mom. Okay. But that message got to the mom. Now they're going to, next time they're looking for toys for birthday, whatever, they know, oh yeah, there's the Malibu Barbie. That's speaking to the kids. If we speak to the mom, we will have to speak to where they live and then they're not watching kid stuff. They're watching stuff they're interested in. And when they're young, they like to look good. They like
looking good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All that.
So now you tell me, based on all this, where would you go? Who would you speak through?
Since we're dealing with the kids, then it's out more of the kids' language, I think, to give it more like of an impression. And since the dentist we went in Fresno, it's like the really good kid look with all like the statues and the play areas. You should make a campaign where it shows how they can have a fun time waiting and doing other activities and stuff there.
Bam.
Yeah.
Are you saying that there's no place like this place?
Yeah, so it's basically like that. So, you know, with all the, like the statues and play areas of like the animals and like where we went to in Fresno, like you can make something like that where it speaks the mom language, because it's like, okay, I don't have to deal with like if my kid's energetic, you know, I can have them there waiting in their room whenever they're ready to go. And then to kids, it's appealing because it's like a lot of colors, it's the animal, it's the play sections, it's the, you know, so I think I'll take that route.
Yeah. So good. No, perfect. That's exactly. But see how easy it was to get there because
of all,
all of this pre-work.
If you would have just told me that from the start, like it's blank and you're just like, what would you take? I'd be like, I wouldn't know.
But no, it makes sense. But if you apply this to every campaign, everything you do, then it becomes like second nature. Like I can probably do this with my eyes closed because I'm already, I can, you know, detect voices, you know, like you just, with experience, you start like, oh, I see, this is I don't know, a new energy drink. Mm-hmm. You know, who's going to drink this? Oh, these young kids, maybe skaters, maybe. And then you start segmenting the audience and then how do they talk? What do they do?
It's kind of like the Red Bull gives you wings. So it's like you drink a Red Bull and you do all this extraordinary things. You're diving into the ocean. You're doing motorcycle trips. People look at that and like, oh, they give you wings. They give you energy to do that. I want to take it. So it's kind of like that.
Exactly. Yeah. You know the slogan.
Yeah.
Someone was at a board saying Red Bull gives you wings.
Yeah.
But if you think about that, if you just put that out of place, you're like, if that was just on the board, you're like, mm-hmm. What are you talking about? But then when you break it down, like you just said, that's exactly what we're doing to be effective, because it's not about creating content. You can create all the content you want. AI will create content for you. Like content is everywhere. It's being effective. If we're not winning, we're not winning. It comes down to all of this don't matter if we're not winning at the end of the road. If at the end of the road that mom is not picking up and saying, hey, I want to make an appointment, or when she's ready to make an appointment, she remembers, oh yeah, I want to take them there. Mm-hmm. Or when she drives by, oh, that's them. Mm-hmm. If we're not making that impression, then we're not imprinting ourselves. They're not going to go to that call to action. So that's it. That's the class basically. Now we go.
So basically you don't want to give them a cold lead. You want to lead them into it slowly, right? And build a connection and a relationship with them. So then you start getting those regular customers rescheduling and seeing the same people. And then you keep getting like, it makes sense.
You're seducing them.
Yeah, you're getting them in.
You're seducing them. Mm-hmm. You have to. Seduction is about the dream. You know, like, look how great this is. And you don't need to seduction is not like, come over here. Seduction is, check it out.
Right.
And then they slowly walk there. Sometimes they'll run there. Mm-hmm. We're seducing the young moms to fall in love with this place. So what do you need for love? Well, you need connection. You need to be aligned with what they want. To be aligned with what they want, you need to know what they don't want. They don't want to go to a dental office, be stressed because their kid needs to be quiet, their kid is jumping around, and they're like, sit down, and it's stressful. And then you still got to deal with being with the pain and then the kid crying. And no one wants that. Forget young moms. Nobody wants to deal with that. So now that you know that that's not what they want, what do we offer? The opposite. Stress-free environment. There's always going to be stress, but we provide you a stress-free environment. The stress comes not from us. You know, stress-free where you come here, let your kid run wild. Not. Also, watch them, don't let them get, but meaning they're allowed to play and make noise and yell and scream. That takes stress away. One thing is, like, for example, we have chargers at the offices. So you're not like, oh man, charger's in the car now. You can just charge your phone. We have Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. So the kid's tablet or whatever, bam, connected. And maybe they just want to sit there and watch their tablet. So all of these things, they have nothing to do with pulling teeth. All dentists pull teeth. I don't care where you go. They know how to do that. We're not selling, hey, we pull some really good teeth out here. Mm-hmm. That's not going to bring them in. That's not going to seduce them. Mm-hmm. Now if I say, hey, stress-free environment. All we're missing is maybe like a glass of wine. Yeah. It's like they get a spa. Like, oh man, I love bringing my kids to the dentist. I wish I could bring them every day. But in the commercial, we just want to show as much as possible that it's just stress-free. There's no place like this place. And then the kids can say it, there's no place like this place. I love it. And the moms can say, yeah, there's no place like this place. Like, it's so stress-free. I love it.